This is the High School Football America podcast for June the 17th, 2024. I'm Jeff Fisher. The High School Football America podcast is brought to you by GameStrat, America's premier sideline instant replay system with outstanding reliability and faster speed than Huddle's sideline, and video transfers instantly in GameStrat, and its connection stays strong throughout. Other great GameStrat features are seamless video controls, video telestration, and play filtering. Setup is easy, only takes about 10 minutes, and here's the best part, I believe, in all the coaches that I've turned on to GameStrat. They say that GameStrat's customer service is above and beyond everybody else's. They pick up the phone when you need them, and that's a real big thing, and you know what I'm talking about, coaches, if you haven't had calls picked up. And there's different plans priced right for every coach's budget, and if you mention High School Football America, you will get a friends and family discount from the fine folks at GameStrat. Now to get a demo, go to GameStrat.com or click on the GameStrat banner ad located on every page of HighSchoolFootballAmerica.com. All right, heading to New Jersey. Oh, I love it when I get close to my home state of Pennsylvania. Jersey plays some darn good football. I grew up on the river there. Easton and Peaburg is what you've heard me say for 20 years here on High School Football America. And we're going to talk a little championship chat here as we look back at 23, ahead to 24 with a head coach at Bergen Catholic. 3 in a row going for a four-peat this year. They've won 3 straight non-public A titles in the state of New Jersey. Vito Campanile is on the line to talk a little bit about 23, a little bit about 24, and we're going to hop in with Father's Day. But first, thanks for taking the time, Coach.
Jeff, thanks for having me. Always great. You know, it's right around the corner when we get to talk. So.
Exactly. I love it. Yeah. I was talking to an old coach who's retired now the other day, and I heard his voice. He's got one of those quintessential coaching voices, you know, a little gravelly. It's Bruce Robinson at Mater Dei, and he just called me to say hello and all that. And I said to him, Coach, whenever I hear your voice, it means the season's close, and I want to go hit somebody or run through a wall. So you know the fall camp is right around the corner.
No question.
Yeah, let's dive into it. And I said, you know, Father's Day was yesterday, and we all know about your dad, Mike, and, you know, the godfather of the first family of New Jersey football. But over the last several years, you've had the pleasure of working with your son, the quarterback. I guess he split time during his sophomore year, and then last year was the full-time starter. I know you guys just took an official visit and all that. And before I get to the question, I just want to point out a stat here. Let's see, 6,702 yards, 55 touchdowns. You know what that means? You have any idea what those numbers mean? Those were your numbers in high school.
Those are my...
Anyway, you were pretty darn good at Paramus Catholic. You all-time leader. You had the state record when you graduated. So with that in mind, you know your son's got a couple of rings as a quarterback. I'm just curious, what's the best advice you've given your son at that position?
I think just staying grounded and focusing on the moment you're in. You know, obviously when you've had success younger, in this world today, like, you know, I think he's done an amazing job of staying grounded, staying focused. He's been as committed of a player as I've ever been around. And fortunately for us, he loves football, and he's a really good teammate. So I think he's done it the right way. And it's really been one of the treasures of my life, being able to coach him. It really has. It's been awesome.
Can't even imagine. Yeah. And you took an official visit with him recently. I was just curious. I mean, pull away being a coach, right? As a dad, what was going through your mind at that point?
Yeah, I think it's a lot like when kids are coming to Bergen Catholic, right? Like you're trying to make sure that it's the right fit, but you know, as I said to his mom, it's like you're trying to put these guys around your kid, because over the next 4 years, that's the people that he's going to spend the most time with, you know. So, and, you know, we've been up to Maine, we've been down to Delaware, going up to Holy Cross next week. And it's kind of like, you know, whatever level of football you're looking at, it has to be the right fit. And I think he'll figure that out. He's totally making this. I mean, we have guidance for him, but we definitely want him to go with what's in his heart. And when he feels it, he'll make that call, and the decision will be made for sure. But at the quarterback spot these days, it goes fast. In my opinion, it's way too fast. I mean, so many of these spots are, closing up, or you have an offer here and then you don't because somebody committed. It's a different world than when I played, where you go on your official visits at the end of November and make the call. Now it's like if you're not in the front of the line making your decision, they're moving on to the next guy.
Yeah.
So.
No doubt about that. Talking to Vito Campanile, head coach at Bergen Catholic. I trust me, folks. We're going to talk a little football that they're going to do here in a second, but I got to go back to that number. Being the Pennsylvania guy that I am, and knowing that we're still trying to figure out how to throw the football in Pennsylvania, 6,702 yards and 55 touchdowns back in your. I'm not trying to make you too old, but what comes to your mind when you do that? And I can't believe you guys were chunking the ball around that much back in your day.
Yeah, honestly, it's funny because I remember my father being a coach. Like, you probably remember the name, but Mouse Davis was coaching New York, New Jersey Knights, right, in the old I think it was the American Football League or UFL, whatever it was called. But, he spent some time over there, and we kind of instituted the run and shoot in the early 90s, and it was it kind of took off for us. It was really, we had 4 really good receivers, and it did kind of change the way we were the only team in the area running it back then. Like, it seemed like the Delaware wing tee was the state offense of New Jersey, right? Everybody ran the wing tee, but when we went to the run and shoot, it definitely changed some stuff. And his coaching tree has really done a great job. It's evolved more. Certainly wouldn't say we're a run and shoot offense, but we definitely have evolved into some good passing offense. The guys that have coached for Coach Campy, for sure.
Yeah, I know. I get living down here in Georgia right now where everybody's throwing the ball, 30, 40, maybe 50 times a game. They're like, you guys don't even know how to do anything other than run the football up there in the Northeast. I said, no, we're catching up, and now I got the statistic to throw at somebody. Let's jump into, before we get into 2024, let's talk about last year. When you think back on that, I mean, it is not easy to ever win a three-peat, but to do it in Jersey, in northern New Jersey, with what everybody knows is one of the top 2 or 3 leagues in the country, puts a smile on your face when you think back to 23?
Yeah, I think the response to we went down to Florida and we got throttled. We did. We got our head kicked in pretty good. I mean, Chaminade Madonna, that was a different animal. I mean, we've had a lot of out-of-state success in the last 6 years, but honestly, that game, they were on a different level than we were. And I thought the way that the guys responded, we played with awesome energy, really played hard and tough, and played a full 4 quarters. But, I mean, they were just on a different planet. And, in this game, if you do it long enough, you're going to be humbled, right? You're going to get embarrassed. There's going to be times when it's just not going to go your way. And the way that we responded to that, I thought, was really the identity of that football team, because we came back the next week with a vengeance. And we really didn't look back. I mean, we played some tight games at St. Joe's. We played a really great game against Del Barton in the state championship. They gave us all we could handle. But I just thought that the identity of that team was just, we were going to fight every week. We were going to stay driven and really stay focused. And in today's world, it's really hard to do. There's so many distractions for these kids. And as we talked about, whether it be college, whether it be what's going on outside of football, they really stayed the course, and it was a unbelievable team to coach. I mean, they are in my heart and soul, those guys. They did everything the right way. And I would always say, like, might not have been the most talented team in the country, but we were the right team for each other. Like, every guy on that team, it was so important to them. Yeah. And we really had great leadership and a great group of guys.
Great bounce back. Chaminade Madonna finished number 2 in our overall rankings, powered by the NFL. Play football, and you guys finished number 22. We'll talk about your easy schedule at the start again this year in just a couple of minutes here. But one of the things I don't think we talked about along the way, and it happens with all great programs, right? You're the guy doing the interviews. You get the you're the HC. You get all the acclaim for that, but you can't do it without a staff. And I know the staff you have there is second to none, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to take a few seconds here and let you kind of get some guys in here by name and what they've done to help the Crusaders join the elite that you have.
I appreciate saying that, Jeff. Yeah, because, like, honestly, the number one thing is with that staff, we've had such amazing continuity. We really haven't had any turnover. It's been a consistent contingent of guys throughout my career at Bergen Catholic. But like it even goes beyond my time there. Like Tony DeBellis played there in '86, right? He went to college for a few years, and he's now our defense coordinator. But he came back to coach in '89, and he's never left. Right. So, I mean, and, talk about his selfless. Yeah, 100%. So, he's an amazing guy to work with, just a tremendous football coach. And, my best friend growing up, Ron Carty, has been there. He was there with my brother Nunzio prior to me getting there. So he's going on 16 seasons. He's, our assistant head coach and wide receiver coach. And he's done a great job. And then, I actually have a couple guys like Joey Miraglia, who's been with me since Seton Hall Prep, who's an amazing job. Carl Seitz played for me at Westwood High School, is now a math teacher and our offensive line coach. And, our defensive staff it's been unbelievable, just having like Darnell Carter, Brendan McGovern, George Jaquette, who's also our special teams coordinator. These guys have all been there. Phil Fusco's been there since before I got there as well. It's just really just an awesome group of guys. And, Johnny Germano has been coaching in college for a few years. He was Gatorade Player of the Year. Played for my brother Nunzio, and he's back now. He was at Syracuse the last couple of years. He's back doing our quarterback. So, we feel great about that. And having all these guys together, and, Joe DeFilippo, our kicking coach, is also an alum. So it's a great group of guys to be around on a daily basis. And, I think the number one thing you say this to families is when you're around like-minded people, it's a lot easier to go in the right direction.
Yeah, no doubt about that. No doubt about that. And I thought it'd be a fun time to throw this back to the Father's Day thing. So Mike has Anthony, Vito, Nunzio, and Nick. You all go into the profession, the family profession, right? Was there ever a thought in your mind that you wouldn't go into the family profession?
Yeah, I don't know. It was easy coming out of college to just go back, and we were kind of helping him out coaching. That's Nuns and I, we're kind of working for my dad. And then when everything went down at Paramus Catholic and, Greg had kind of taken Nuns to Don Bosco, it just kind of timed up. I actually, one of my college roommates got me on the staff at UNH at University of New Hampshire. And that was great. I got the GA for Chip Kelly. So, and then from there it was just kind of, it's what you were going to be. Mm-hmm. I don't know. And yeah, I don't think my younger brothers, I don't think they had much doubt about what they were going to do. I don't know if they ever really wanted to do anything else. It's funny, like Dominic's going on these visits, and one of the first things the coaches always say to him in the interviews, well, you're going to be a coach, right? So he's like, I don't know. Yeah. So it's just kind of like, that's what you're supposed to do. But, I don't know. It's just kind of, it was simple and easy, and you kind of figure it out, but it's like what you're driven to do when you wake up every day. You don't really feel like you're going to work. At least that's how I feel.
Yeah, so. Well, and tremendous success along the way. Vito Campanile on the line, Bergen Catholic football, a regular entrant into the High School Football America 300. Look for them when it comes out later this month to be highly ranked again, thanks to a good schedule. But before we get into that schedule, Coach, let's talk about it. We talked about Dominic. Obviously, it helps when you have a state championship winning quarterback taking snaps, right? But who are some of the other kids? However you want to take it. You want to go offense, defense. Get some of the names of the leaders of this team into this chat.
I think we've done a really good job of, being a defensive first football team. And then last year we just were we had a dynamic football team as far as we had, 25 touchdown drives of 4 plays or less. So we did have some quick strike potential. And, we finished the season plus 24 in turnovers, which is really hard to beat. So we did a really good job taking care of the football and playing complementary football. Our kicker, I think our kicker is one of the best in the States. So Gaetano Bartolomeo is coming back. He was perfect in PAT and he was perfect in PAT and field goal last year. So we feel great about him, and he's been pretty automatic putting the ball in the end zone when we ask him to do that on kickoff. So that really, I think makes it hard to drive the field. Diane Parrish is just committed to Minnesota. At defensive back, he returns. Jordan Thomas is a national kid in the 26th class, considered one of the best DBs in the country in his group. And then Ethan Cohall is a safety for us, and Mujahid Russell, who's played running back the last 2 years. So having a lot of experience in the secondary, I think, is really where it starts for us defensively. And then, Caden Irby Mason, who's probably going to end up at West Point, Sam linebacker, David Matisick, who's an Ivy Patriot player, will be the Will. And then we have 2 juniors we feel awesome about, Timmy Hogan and Mason Mark both played a lot last year. Will play inside backers for us. And we do have a sophomore that is just coming on at an incredible level. Fahim Osman will play some linebacker as well. So, and then defensive line, we've had an unbelievable contingent of guys be high-level college players. But, like, Ben Carey is one of those guys, just a quintessential high school football player. And he's kind of really he's a dynamic kid for us. He's only a 5'10" guy, but, like, he just plays with his hair on fire. He had 2.5 sacks and a fumble recovery in the state championship, was a big piece to that. And, Delaney Flood will return, be one of the best defensive tackles in the state. And those 26 guys, there's a contingent of about 5 of the guys that are going to be juniors that'll all be really high-level players and play at the next level. So defensively, we feel like across the board, everybody's pretty tough and solid. And then offensively, I think a lot of people feel like we lost some offensive linemen. Chris Vigna is obviously going to Rutgers. He just committed last week. And Ben Shue, who's one of the best wrestlers in the state and actually just committed to Texas for track, is the other returning offensive lineman. But Ben's an awesome athlete. And then we have about 4 or 5 guys competing on the other side. I mean, really, really doing a good job. So we feel great about that. Yeah.
And I talk to so many coaches that are loving the wrestling room right now. You guys obviously have a great wrestling program there. I was just curious what your take is on that wrestler turned football player or vice versa, because when you're in the circle there, man, it's you.
No, I wrestled my whole life. I did, and I know it's not most quarterbacks know, but I grew up and that was kind of what we did when it wasn't football season. We wrestled in our house. So yeah, I'm a huge proponent of wrestlers, and Mason Mark, our middle linebacker, is the 220-pounder, and Ben's the heavyweight, and those guys are just. Ben Carey's on the wrestling team. Those guys, so we're all about those guys wrestling, and I just think there's so many correlations between leverage and core strength and balance with wrestling and playing in the trenches. It's Ben Shue could, easily he's a Division I offensive lineman, but he has legitimately got a chance to be like the national champion next year in the discus. So, and we feel really good. He's finished in the top 4 in the state 2 years in a row for heavyweight. So he's got a great chance to win it next year. And New Jersey's great wrestling. So yeah, we're excited about that. And like, as you go through the rest of the team, Dante Kane returns at running back, and we're not a big transfer hub school, but we did take in there's a transfer running back now. G. Calhoun came in from a school down South Jersey, and he's a really high level running back. So I think that adds incredible depth to that room. And then Moo and Caden can also run the ball. So we feel like we're really solid at running back. And then obviously Quincy Porter, I think, was a high school All-American for you guys last year. Just committed to Ohio State, and he returns. He had 20+ touchdowns as a junior, as a wideout. He's just about 6'4" and really one of the best receivers in the country. So that's a great help. And then we have Jermaine Kinsler and John Morris at the tight end spot. We actually play 3. Matty Daly would be the other one. And then the wideout spot, we have a few guys like Naeem could play wideout, and then we have 3 sophomores. Quincy's younger brother Brian. Anthony Willis, who played some safety for us last year, and a kid, Austin Busso, who going into 10th grade just ran sub 4.6 at Penn State. So we feel great about that room. Yeah, Austin's going to be a great player as well. So
sounds like there's a little bit of depth there, Coach.
There is, and the last guy I would say, Anthony Parati, who is our slot, and one of the best punt returners in the state. Ant will be a huge piece of it. He was last year and will be again. So feel really good about the guys we have, and it's just. I'm sure the guys we play on opening night should feel pretty good about who they got. They got some dudes too.
I've heard IMG has a few people. Let's see. The schedule starts Battle at the Beach, number 4 IMG. Then you slum it a little bit. You go all the way down to number 9, defending champs in Ohio, Maslin, Washington. Then you throw in Iona Prep, which is doing some big things out of New York over the last decade or two. So you got a good schedule there. Tell me a little bit about that schedule, your thoughts on it. As you said, last year it worked, right? You may have gotten your butts handed to you, but it strengthens you some way, right? In some way.
Yeah, we are always going to try, Jeff. We're always going to try and play like a national game. And we last year it was really came down to the fact like we thought Chaminade was as good of a team as there was in the country, and we took that one. And honestly, watching IMG on defense last year, I feel very much the same. They're as good as any team in the country. And I think, like, we're always trying to develop and find out how good we can be. Like, what's the best version of the kids at Bergen Catholic? And the way you do that is really compete at the highest level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, we're certainly not going to be intimidated of who we're going to line up against. We're going to do everything we can to play the best in the country. And, you know, we're going to go out and make sure we give everything we have, no different than every other game. Like, this league that we play in, really to prepare yourself for that, I think the best thing you can do is put yourself in uncomfortable situations, because you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable, right? So it's one of those things that, and, you know, IMG is really, I mean, they're a juggernaut defensively. I'm just looking at some of the players in the, especially the linebacker room, is like, wow. I mean, there's going to be a lot of guys playing on Sunday in that room. So it's going to be, it'll be an interesting game. I mean, I think, you know, we're as motivated and driven as any team in America to play in it. So, I can't wait to get back to it. And I think we learned a lot from, you know, going down to Hollywood last year and what happened there, because, you know, it was an avalanche early, that game. And then we kind of, you know, caught our wind and we were able to do some good things offensively, but those receivers down in Chaminade were a different deal. So, you know, we just got to come out and control the game from the start and understand that, you know, as talented as our guys are, we're playing. We have no reservation. We know we're playing against a more talented football team.
Yeah, definitely what they have last year. This is a segue into my next question. They had, number 7 and number 10 overall in the NFL draft, and there you are. I'm sitting there watching the draft, doing our thing, and all of a sudden I see something pop up about a high school football game between Bergen Catholic and IMG. There's some guy named Belichick talking about it. I'm not quite. What was that like for you guys to hear that football game announced during the NFL draft coverage?
I mean, how could you not have a lot of pride in that, right? I mean, that buzz went right through North Jersey. That was awesome. So appreciate that more than anything, Coach Belichick giving us that shout out. So I think the Battle at the Beach guys will appreciate it too, because I know you know, that's going to be packed to the gills down there. So it should be a great opportunity for our guys. And really, you know, it's about as close to a college environment as you're going to find getting involved in some of these games. So it's an awesome experience, and it's really become not the only reason, but one of the reasons these guys want to come to a place like Bergen Catholic is to find out, you know, how good you could really be and kind of to be pushed to be the best version of yourself.
Yeah, no doubt. And going away here, you're in the summer workouts. You know, football's no longer 4 months, right? It's 365. So you got your summer and then you got your fall camp. I mean, what are some of the things you guys need to get right to make that 4-peat possible?
Yeah, I think repetition, right? I think, you know, as you said, having a quarterback that's played for really not too many times that you get one that's played for 2 years and, you know, and played in these big games. So that's a huge component. I think, you know, obviously keeping him protected, but him having, you know, you have that experience at that position. There's really, you know, a lot of the install can be done by the players. We have, I think, you know, Parati, Dominic, and Quincy have all played 3 years of offense. Diane Parrish has done that, and Delaney Flood has done that on defense. So having that experience, I think, is a critical piece to our development. And it's really been it's fun. It is one of the best times of the year right now. You know, we're actually heading up to Boston College on Wednesday, so we'll be up there for 2 days for a 7-on-7. But it's way more about the time that the kids get to spend together than it is just a 7-on-7 games. You know, I think being able to take them to places, meet people, but more importantly, see different parts of the country and also cultivate and develop their relationship and spend those 48 to 60 hours together. It's really what the team bonding element needs to be. And that's really why we do it.
Yeah, no doubt. And you guys have been the class of Jersey for so long, and I thought of one more question there because of our partnership with NFL Play Football over the last 5 years. You guys play your championship game there at MetLife Stadium, home of the Jets and Giants, or Giants and Jets, so I don't get anybody angry at me by putting one ahead of me. It's like when I used to do Easton Peaburg games. It was always Easton Peaburg, but Peaburg people would get in my, or Phillipsburg to be, you know, a little bit more less local.
Well,
but
Bosco, right? Yeah, if you say Bosco Bergen, you're a Bosco person. If you say Bergen Bobby, you're Bergen person. So
exactly. So the question is this: what does it mean for you guys to know that the NFL is reaching down into the roots of the game, the high school level, and allowing you guys to play some championship games there in the NFL stadium?
Well, I tell you this: it is like when you walk out there, it is like legitimately, going into a cathedral. I mean, it is such an awesome opportunity for these kids. And, something for us just in my house, like one of my former players owns a restaurant right down in East Rutherford where the stadium is. So, like, whenever we go around, we go there almost every week. But, like, every time you go and you look at the lights that say MetLife, you bring yourself back to those days, So I don't think it's just my son. I would say almost every kid that gets to play in there. And for Jersey, it's great because a decent amount of guys do get to play in there. So I couldn't be happier about that. I mean, my memories in there are just amazing. So it's an unbelievable opportunity for guys to really get the culmination of high school football at what we consider like the Mecca of football in New Jersey, right? So I don't think we could do it any better. I think Colleen McGuire does an amazing job with the NJSIA in our state, and I think we're getting better every year at what we do. But yeah, that's a big piece to it. I actually appreciate you mentioning that. Yeah, for sure.
I'm just proud of myself that I said MetLife and not Giant Stadium because the old 63-year-old in me. It was hard to get rid of that habit. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time with us today. We wish you nothing but
talk to you, Jeff. I appreciate it. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
And for appearing on the High School Football America podcast, Coach Campanile is going to get a personalized fan gear pack from First Place Spiritwear, the official outfitter of High School Football America and the podcast. Man, the stuff that First Place Spiritwear is putting out is cutting edge. It's hot, hot, hot. Carrying name brands like Nike, Adidas, and Champion. They have an up-and-running Spiritwear store for every football program in the country. And First Place Spiritwear is a hassle-free solution for football coaches, providing fan gear for players, fans, and coaches. And here's the great thing about it. Coaches, time is of the essence. When you got that whistle around your neck, you don't need to be out there collecting money or managing inventory. First Place Spiritwear does it for you. Their website is firstplacespiritwear.com. That's the number 1, ST, placespiritwear.com. And coming up this week, we'll have some banner ads on highschoolfootballamerica.com. You can just click on those banner ads to get right to First Place Spiritwear. But man, they're going to give you a Fanatics-like experience with amazing designs. It's the perfect alternative to BSN's fan cloth. You can earn 10% fundraising on all sales, and during the off-season, they have an even better deal for you. Stores are open 24/7, 365. No more ordering windows. The orders ship directly to homes within days. And all players, coaches, and staff, they get a $10 gift card. Folks, you got to trust me on this. You've trusted me over 20 years with all of our partners, and I'm telling you, First Place Spiritwear is the gold medal standard. You want to check them out, firstplacespiritwear.com, the number 1, stplacespiritwear.com. You're going to love what you see when you get on this website. There is nothing like this out there in the high school spiritwear space. And that'll do it for today's High School Football America podcast, brought to you by NFL Play Football. Coaches, don't forget to check out playfootball.nfl.com for some great resources to help you improve in the coaching profession. That's the High School Football America podcast, and I'm Jeff Fisher.